So the time has come to get this rascal ready for operation. I've got it spread out here on this bench, and I got some water here from a tank, and I like to use these little plant boxes. They're real cheap, about 10 bucks I think, or maybe even less, about 10 inches square, for rinsing the media. Not only when it's new, but especially when you do your regular maintenance. You can dump the trays in there, and it allows the media to spread out a bit, and that makes it a lot easier than to rinse any debris that might be on there. So we'll pull out that first tray and give it a shot, see how it works. So there we've got a tray full of media, a super biogravel. And see if we get any dust off of there. It might be on there. I'm sure there's some. That should clean things up real nice, and it'll be ready to go. So you could do the same thing, obviously, like I say, when you service your filter with whatever kind of biohome you might have. Just throw it in here, do a little trick like this, and it should come out looking like brand new. Yeah, once you got it rinsed off, it's really easy to just dump it back in the tray, and a few minutes you're back in operation. So there we've got all 3 trays worth of super biogravel rinsed off, and it's time to rinse out those foams. So here's the fine foam that's going to go in the bottom of the second tray, and it's brand new, of course, so it's real clean. But we'll make sure that any residue that might be left over from the manufacturing process, what have you, any crud it might have picked up in shipping, so forth, we get rid of that. So that's a pretty straightforward process. We just rinse that out. We'll put that back in a sec. We'll snake this first tray out, which has the coarse and the medium foams in it. And we'll pull the same trick with them. I apologize, my phone's kind of jumping all over the place here. It's not real easy to everything with one hand and hold the camera steady with the other. But hopefully you get the idea. So there we go. Got that baby done. Pull this one out. The only trick is kind of getting it over this pipe. And out she comes. And in she goes. And there we are. So all we got to do now is put her back together and put it where we want under the tank and get everything hooked up. So that'll be next. And there we are. All the trays are back together. It took, oh golly, maybe 5-6 minutes to do all that. So that's not too bad. And we'll throw them babies together and see if we can find a home for this filter. And there she is, all back together. That maybe took 30 seconds to do that. That's it goes together real nicely. It's a pretty easy filter to work with. And so, next step will just be finding a place for it and hooking up the hoses. So installing the hoses is a piece of cake. It helps a lot if you have a little silicone grease from Ace or your favorite hardware store. Put a little bit of that on the tip of the plastic tube, and that hose will go on there pretty easily, and then we just tighten it up. So we'll go ahead. This is the intake side. I've already done that for the outlet side, and it's pretty easy to operate. So you want to get that hose all the way up to the stop, which can be a bit of a chore without some lubrication, but as I say, with the silicone grease, it's not really very bad. And then we simply tighten that nut, and hopefully we'll have a real good and watertight seal there. We'll find out, I guess, when we get it going. So a pretty slick feature of this rascal is the fact that these connectors rotate all the way around, so you can arrange them to where they're going to work whatever sort of a situation you've got to make it as direct and nice a connection as possible, because you don't want any loops or anything there that cause an airlock. And of course you want to cut the tubing to be just the right length. So it's going to be pretty easy, I think. I'm going to have plenty of tubing here. Looks like I'll probably have almost 2 feet extra on the outlet side and 7 or 8 inches on the inlet side. So that's going to work out nice for this installation. So we'll get those cut and installed, and this whole project will be almost ready to take off. You'll notice that there's ball valves on both of those. Not really certain why I would really want one on the inlet, but I suppose it can't hurt. You'd always want to run that fully open. But the other one on the outlet, you can use that to get whatever flow you wanted for what you were doing. In this case, we'll probably have both of them wide open once we get her going. And certainly you'd want to have them both wide open for startup. But anyway, we got to get it hooked up first, see how it's going to work. And hopefully it'll work well. So the marketing guys for these filter companies are pretty optimistic. They tell you that it's easy to get this thing going with their primer. They have a little pictogram there that shows you pushing on that with one finger. And this filter holds way more than a gallon of water. I'm not sure how too much, I didn't measure it exactly, but it holds quite a bit of water. So the idea that I was going to pump that full with that primer is pretty fanciful, I believe. So now we've got it filled with a bucket, and we'll pop that lid back on, and we might give that primer a couple pushes just for the heck of it, see if it picks up anything. Let's see if I can see any movement, which would be encouraging. And then we're going to turn the juice on and see how the pump will do. And so we'll plug this thing into our pond control system here. We had this set up previously for some test filters, so we plugged it into test filter number 1, and then we'll fire up the dashboard and start it up, see what happens. Well, that was quite an experience. Startup didn't go quite as smoothly as I had hoped. I had a little trouble with one of the 406s I used to run, getting it going every time I cleaned it, but nothing quite like this. I filled the canister and thought that'd probably do the trick, but it didn't. I turned it on and it ground away for a while, and I didn't like the sound of that, so shut it down. Then I took this outlet out and got a hose and basically filled it up that way. And it took an ungodly amount of water yet, much more than I would have expected to finally fill up all the hoses. And I fired it up, and it started in spurts and sputs, and it would pump a little water, and then it stopped, pump a little air, and so forth. And then finally, so I finally went inside, had to process some orders. So I went in there and probably spent a good 30 minutes or so doing that order, and then came out, and now I see it's going gangbusters. So I'm not, like I say, I'm not convinced that that primer would be of a whole lot of value. Of course, in fairness, I didn't have much access to it down there. If you could actually get to it and put your weight on it, I guess you could pump it better, but it would sure take a lot of manual pumping, I think, to get it really going. So anyway, that's kind of par for the course for canisters as I've experienced it. You need to fill them up full as you can with water, and then typically they'll take off without too much trouble. And so we got this rascal running now, so we'll let her go. She's moving quite a bit of water, and we'll let it run now for at least a month, maybe longer, and then take a look and see what it looks like inside. I'll show you where it's pulling from here in just a second. It's a pretty nasty looking chamber down there with all the fish poop, so it'll ought to test that mechanical filtration out pretty good, and the general construction of the filter to see how much crud is able to get by through the nooks and crannies. The 406s would pass a fair bit, so it's going to be interesting to see how well this does. So we'll pause this for a second and take a look at the other end. Yeah, so you can see down there there's quite a bit of debris, and that intake is right smack down there with it, so I'm sure a bunch of it's going to get sucked in there, and hopefully our coarse, medium, and fine will filter all that out, and we'll see an area particle in the super biogravel. We'll see, time will tell. And in the meantime, until such time, happy fish keeping.